What's going on YouTube? It's Kenny with Readysetink, and this week we are bringing in a tier list. And so here we got 23 cards, and we're going to be checking them out and throwing them in a couple of categories that I jotted down, and just vibe with it and see where we go. So this specific category of cards is all by the artist Kendall Hale, and you can see he's got a good amount of cards here, 23, and we're excited to look at them today. I think this was gonna be a fun thing to do with the new set coming out, and he's got a couple there that is worth checking out. So we're gonna go ahead and start. So I wanted to start with the card on the right, and that is the Mickey Mouse Artful Rogue, and this is the enchanted out of the first set. So you can see that Kendall sort of got his footing down here in Lorcana with being able to get the enchanted in set one, which is super cool. And he got this Emerald Mickey, which is a shift card, and whenever you play an action, chosen opposing character can't quest during their next turn. So he did a great job on this art, and I feel like I don't think I saw it too much. I think with these more expensive ink cards, especially ones that are uninkable, they didn't see a lot of play. And you guys could tell me in the comments if you seen like this Mickey floating around some gameplay or not. But I think even though this card got the enchanted treatment, there was something missed about this ability and everything here. But possibly with this new set coming out, there could be a use for this card here with stopping more characters from questing, so we might be able to see it. But for now, we are gonna put this enchanted here, and there are other cards that can pretty much do what that card can do. And the next one here we have is Hans, and this is also from set one, and here he deals 1 damage to a chosen character when he quests, and he also was questing, he quests for 2. So I remember in set 1 and a little bit in the set 2, this guy had a strong footing in the meta with the Steel Song and just Steel decks in general. They were pretty strong at the very beginning of Lorcana, and he definitely played a big role in controlling the opponent. And I think he's taken a back seat now, but he was definitely a great card to have. With you can see here, he's I believe this one was the super rare rarity. So I know for me, it was hard to get enough copies of him out in the beginning of the game. And with that, I think we keep Hans here in a Lorcana must-have. You will probably see him come around again with the more damaging options floating around in the new set. And our third card here is Stolen Scimitar. It's an emerald card in set 1. And this one was an item that gave your characters +1 strength. And it gave Aladdin specifically a +2 strength if it was an Aladdin character. And I think this one, it became sort of hard to get this card out, only because, you know, you want the added benefit of having it on Aladdin, but I don't think there was enough Aladdin play that was going around. I know we had the it was an enchanted ruby Aladdin, but even then, like, there was just different ways that the game went where I don't think Aladdin got enough play out of him from what I seen in gameplays. And so, you know, potentially we're gonna see more Aladdin cards and, you know, Aladdin tribal and things like that. So this can definitely be recirculated back into the game, but I don't think I ever played this card. And so I think with that, we are going to put it in needs more recognition. Needs more recognition? Or I think there are other cards. I think we're going to put this in there are other cards just because there's just different options for you to play there. And so moving on to the next card, we have the non-enchanted Mickey Mouse. So you can see here that Kendall is on a collaboration art credit with Alex Accorsi. So I believe there, you could probably see on like lorcana.com how the artists work together, or I've seen other artists like describe how one drew it and the other colored it. But so this you can see maybe the collab here was that the same imagery was sort of captured, and the ideal wasn't lost between the two, but without much else changing, it is the same card. We're going to keep this one also in their other cards. We'll put it right next to it though, so we just keep them together. And here we have Befuddle, and I mean it's a one drop, one ink card that returns a 2 cost or less character item to their hand, and this has been solid since set 1 and will continue to be solid. There are other cards now that are coming out that you're returning characters, you're returning cards, and now there's benefits of when you return a said card, you're getting lore and stuff off of that. So it just makes this Befuddle even stronger, and this card has no chance of going away. And so we're just putting that up in the must-have. We'll put it before Hans, just because I think Hans will come back. Maybe we'll put Hans in needs more recognition, because I don't think he's in the scene now. So but we think he's coming back. Here we got Marshmallow from set 1, and he is a 6-drop uninkable. And when he is banished in the challenge, you may return this card to your hand. So he was able to loop himself, whether you were challenging or you were using him as a body. But I think with the heavy 6 ink and uninkable, this became a hard card to play. The stats aren't too bad. It's only 1 lore, but I think there is definitely just other options there for this card. And I mean, it's pretty cool with that he became one of the first cards to be in the game, and before I didn't even know he had a name, so it's cool that now I can recognize him as Marshmallow throughout you know, our usual Disney adventures and things like that as a family. So I appreciate that Kendall Hale was able to bring this guy to light, but there are just other cards that you would play over Marshmallow. And the next card here is Archimedes, and he is just a set 1 2/2 card, so he is a vanilla card. And the cool thing about this guy is I believe it was the last set where Archimedes got an enchanted treatment, and with that it sort of makes this card a bit more prized, since he is a shift target now for an enchanted card. And I enjoy using the enchanted and using him and the other base Archimedes as a shift target. And he might not be a must-have, but you bet yourself that I would stick him next to my flounders in my collection. So I'll go ahead and put him there, and we'll keep the ball rolling. Here we got Minnie Mouse. She is a princess. Also from set 1, she is a 2-drop inkable and a 2/3. And I remember in the beginning, this card was pretty good just because she survives those initial early turn attacks, and you're able to get value off of that. And there is a princess aspect to this game, so having that princess characteristic is great for her. And I don't know if she gets play though, is with her just being a vanilla card. There's probably other options to have, and we're probably going to keep her in there or other cards. She had her time, but I think this game has moved to a faster pace of a lot of your cards need abilities now. And here we have Maximus. He is a 3-drop inkable, and he is taking away 2 strength off a character when you play this card. So a very good control card. I seen him in the Kita shift deck. When I played my Kita deck, I don't think I utilized this Maximus as much, but I think there's going to be a time with the strength reduction that he's probably going to see more play, or I think there's a door open for him to see play, but there's probably still other cards around that you would rather play. But I think this is still, it's a solid card. It's okay. You got 3/3/3 with a single lore. I think we are going to keep him. It needs more recognition. I think there'll be time where you just want more strength removal. So there is that. Here we got Sneezy. He is one of the 7 dwarves, and he is from the second set. This is whenever you play this character or another 7 dwarves character, you may give chosen character -1 strength. So it's not too bad. There is now, twice as many dwarf characters, which is pretty cool with the multiple sets. So you have a lot of options there to play a 7 dwarfs character. And we're probably just we're gonna stick him down here in D tier, because the trick is that this is not D tier. This is actually our dwarfs tier, and that is just where he belongs, and we're gonna keep him there because, as you guys see here, Kendall Hale got himself a row of dwarfs that he was able to create for Lorcana. And these dwarves are pretty special to Readysetink, so we're going to keep them in their own tier here, and we'll talk about that later. So moving on, we get Sleepy here. Here he is a card that comes in exerted. There's not a lot of cards that do that. It's a cost that you're giving, that you're paying for to have this card with the 2 lore and a stronger stat line. So that is your cost, is that you are playing him exerted at the get-go. And we're going to just drop him right next to Sneezy there. And we'll continue down the line. And here we have Happy. He is a support character. He is a 5 cost, so he is one of the more expensive dwarves. He might be the most expensive dwarf. And he's got 2 lore. So he is there to quest and then throw his strength at another character. I think he might be one of the more forgotten dwarves to be played, but we are throwing him down there in the dwarves tier. And we probably got another dwarf coming up here. It's Grumpy, and he is giving your 7 dwarf characters 1 strength. So a great building card for your dwarf deck if you got that going on there. He's a pretty good card, and I think this is like the peak like Grumpy art right there. So great job on that, Kendall. And we'll go ahead and check out the next one. We got Dopey here. So when this character is banished, your other 7 dwarf characters get +2 strength until the start of your next turn. So if we look here, this one, oh, okay, so check this out. So this Grumpy, your other dwarf characters get +1. So it's just permanent standing while he's on the field. All your dwarf characters are buffed +1. And so that makes sense now with this Dopey, where when you play, or when he is banished, okay, your dwarf characters are getting a buff until the start of your next turn. So if they have to take Dopey out first for some reason, your other characters do get stronger. Or say you use him to challenge and banish during your turn, until the start of your next turn, all your dwarves are stronger. So that is a difference that I needed to point out between him and Grumpy. And we are dropping him down in the dwarves. And here we got Doc. I believe this Doc is not too bad. Whenever this character quests, you pay 1 less ink for the next character you play this turn. So he's similar to Pluto. He's similar to Gaston. They are both cost reducing cards. I know Pluto is, you're not questing, you're just exerting to reduce the cost. And so this Doc, you're at least you're getting 2 lore for also paying less ink, so it's pretty good. You actually see this card more in other decks outside of the dwarves themed decks, and that is a pretty cool thing to see. He broke out of that mold there. So we'll stick him down there with the dwarves. And our last dwarf here on the page is Bashful. And this character can't quest unless you have another 7 dwarf character in play. So you see here, he is a 4 cost with 3 ink. So he's got that strong ink count with the hefty 5 willpower. And the only thing is that he can't quest by himself. He's got to have someone next to him who is also a dwarf to quest. So it's not too bad. It's a good handcuff to keep him within the dwarf's theme. And we'll go ahead and just drop him down there. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dwarves down there, which is pretty cool because they have their own specific characteristic of 7 dwarfs. And then there is another set of 7 dwarfs from another set, so you can actually just mix those together and you got more dwarfs. So with that, we're going on to the next one. We got LeFou, and he is our second steel card, which is pretty cool. And during your turn, you may play this character for free if an opposing character was banished in the challenge this turn. So I haven't seen, there was a brief moment in the meta where I was seeing him being utilized, but after that, there wasn't too many. I'm assuming just players are not having value created off of just playing him for free, which is interesting. But he is left out of a lot of lists that I see. But I think there's something here, you know, maybe he might have been in the Steel Fossa deck, some of the Steel Fossa deck lists, but I think there's a stronger presence here that can be created with him that is not being utilized. So we're going to keep him in the needs more recognition tier there. And we'll check out the next one. Here we have Daisy Duck, a Musketeer Spy. Let me go ahead and check real quick. So this LeFou is from set 4. So it looks like there is possibly a hiatus in set 3 that we don't have any Kendall Hale cards. And I'll have to confirm that with an outside list. But so LeFou started off our set 4 tier. And then here we have Daisy Duck, another set 4 card. And when you play this character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So this one was had some pretty strong play there with the discard meta, which is still running rampant. There's a lot more options now, but discard is definitely still there. So she brings a great easy discard option for those decks with the amber color, and I think that is pretty solid. It's not like I don't think it's the key character of those decks, but I think Daisy Duck here is a Lorcana must-have if you're playing a amber discard deck, because it's just there for free for you to discard. Here we have Potion of Might. It's an item card, and you pay 1 ink and banish this item, and a character gets +3 strength, and if it is a villain character, they actually get a +4. So I don't think I've seen this card played. That could just be me, and I think there has just been other ways for Ruby type decks to get their strength. So this one is pretty interesting to see if it's gonna be played more or not, but I think we're gonna keep this one here, and there are other cards. And for anyone who knows, if you can name the movie down in the comments of where this Potion of might be coming from, then I'll go ahead and give you your kudos down in the comments if you guys get it right. But we're going to keep this card down, and there are other cards. And this one was set 5, so we have moved on to set 5 here. Here we have Bruni. This is another card similar to Marshmallow, where I had no idea he had a name, but all because of Kendall Hale, I now know that this salamander from Elsa and Frozen 2 is his name is Bruni, and I actually enjoy this card a lot. He is one of my favorites for evasive amethyst decks that I like to play. And so he's a 4-drop evasive with 2 ink or 2 lore. And when he is banished, you may draw a card. So you get the draw benefit, you have evasive, you have 2 lore. To me, it's a great card. I'm not worried about larger stats for a card like this. I'm happy with what he does. And he might not be a must-have, but to me, I'm putting this guy next to our flounders in the binder. He deserves to have a special place in my collection, and I'm glad that he can do that. Here we have Archimedes. This is our second one, so it's actually really cool that he got to do 2 Archimedes cards from different sets. This is a set 5 owl, and he is owl that paired with the enchanted owl, because there is a 5 cost shift target, or a 5 cost like a Floodborn card that came out the same set. So it's cool to have this one, and they're both evasive, so this evasive shifts into another evasive card. And 2 stats with 2 lore. I think this is a pretty good card, and for evasives, he definitely deserves to stick around. I'm gonna go ahead and call him a must-have, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I enjoy playing that card in my Amethyst decks. And now we got a set 6 that will be coming out. It might be next week for as I'm recording this video, but also December 1st, I believe, for the big department stores is when set 6 comes out. And so it looks like Kendall got 2 cards here with set 6. And here is Aunt Cass. She is the parental guardianship in Big Hero 6. And here she is handing out some root beer on a pirate ship with some crazy typhoon going on behind her. And she doesn't look worried one bit. But when she quests, she gives a chosen inventor character 1 extra lore this turn. So interesting enough is, as I'm reading it now, I automatically assume she was just giving all inventors +1 for the turn, but she's only targeting 1. So it's not as strong as I think it would be, but it is cool that there is now an inventor like trope or character type that is going to be coming out with set 6. And so she's definitely going to have that handcuff to the inventors, but I don't think she is strong enough to be a must-have. We'll probably keep her in there or other cards, and we'll see how she steps into the light with the new set coming out. And it looks like we got 1 more card, and it is the legendary Simba coming out in set 6. So we are ending off these Kendall Hale collections with a legendary Simba. He is a uninkable 5-drop, but he has a shift 3, which isn't too bad. And at the end of your turn, if this character is exerted, you may ready your other characters. So with it being Simba, you can see him being shifted on that steel. I want to say he is a 1-drop Simba that you draw and discard a card. And you can also see him on top of a Simba bodyguard who you're going to want to have exerted anyways. So this guy, I think, is people already brewing up what this Simba can do with readying your other characters. You can shift him and quest for 2 immediately, because you're most likely your shift target's going to be dry from the previous turn played. And I think this is a great card. The card looks sick, and it's interesting based on the way the scene is going on, is that this water is not something to take lightly within the story of Lorcana. So I think this is a great card. I think it's going to be a must-have. We're definitely going to see if this card is going to be taking some big steps forward for whatever is coming out for these Amber cards. And so here we have finished our 23 cards by Kendall Hale, and I picked out 4 Lorcana must-haves that came across of all 6 sets of his. And here we got 2 cards that I would stick next to my Flounder collection. And we got 3 cards here that needs a bit more recognition. There's probably some things on the way that's gonna bring these cards back up. And here is a handful. Looks like we're matching with the dwarves. So 7 cards of their other cards that you're just able to play. And I might be proven wrong. You know, there might be something that brings these up, or maybe there is, you know, an Artful Rogue super fan club that can tell me what I'm missing about this Mickey Mouse here. But these are cards where they're just other cards to play. And then here we have our dwarfs. I saved them for their own section. And the super cool thing about this is that they're all connecting. And so we've here at Readysetink Inc., we've gained great virality from talking about these cards. So these cards definitely hold a special place in our Readysetink hearts. And I will go ahead and just throw these guys into order of how they're connected on my phone here. So it looks like we got Sleepy, Bashful, then Sneezy. It looks like here we have Doc next to him, and then Grumpy, Dopey, and Happy. So that there is the connecting art of the 7 dwarves in the first set. And I believe in the second set of dwarves, they're not connecting. So that was I think that was a drop ball there to not have them connect again. But these are our Kendall Hale cards, and this is how I wanted to rank them. So yeah.